Hurricane warnings have been issued for Florida's East Coast as Tropical Storm Nicole continues to strengthen. Nicole is expected to make landfall early Thursday morning as a Category 1 storm, bringing obviously what a Category 1 storm brings. Torrential rain, damaging winds. Nicole will be the first hurricane to strike the U.S. in November in nearly 40 years.
Wow. And this is not the year that they want it right now. No. They never want it, but they certainly don't need it right now.
After Hurricane Ian, still trying to pick up the pieces there. Hey, if you ever wanted to own a T-Rex skull, this could be your chance. A T-Rex skull was actually unearthed in South Dakota, and it's now going to auction. It's expected to sell for $15 million or more. So maybe that Powerball winner.
Yeah, if you wanted some artwork for the new mansion.
Yeah,
sure.
Maybe they're going to buy a T-Rex skull. It's 200 pounds, which is insane. It seems crazy. It's being sold on December 9th by the owner who says they wish to remain anonymous. But it was unearthed in 2020 and 2021 in South Dakota in Hardin County, which apparently is an area that's called the world capital for T-Rexes. And it's 76 million years old. And they say it actually has 2 large puncture holes in it as evidence that it was in some sort of big fight, which is also pretty cool. Maybe that's
I want the skull of the thing that punctured that. Yeah, look out. Go to the capital. What is it? What you got? The capital of T-Rexes. Yeah. See if you can find heads, little arms.
Where the hell is T-Rex Congress? And voted on the T-Rex issues?
Heather with the news. Thanks, Heather.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Wednesday, Wide 9 football questions on 97.1.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed than the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for just $40 per month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. Plus, ask how to get a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Ends 1/1/2023. Restrictions apply. Actual speeds vary. Compare pricing of top carriers. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Comcast Business Internet required. New Comcast Business 100 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment taxes and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep services for 12 months for discount. Results vary. Not an endorsement.
Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers keep you up to date with what's happening in the D. This week, do you love a great steak? These restaurants have the answer to your ultimate craving. For more stories like these, head over to ChevyDetroit.com.
Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers are ready to get your weekend started with the Chevy Blazer. Blazer is the midsize SUV you've been looking for. Its bold design and athletic stance will turn heads wherever you go. And its roomy interior offers seating for up to 5 passengers with plenty of space for cargo. Chevy Blazer. It's the SUV that has it all. Hurry into your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers and lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT front-wheel drive for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in deep and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. This is for a 2022 Blazer 2LT front-wheel drive for 24 months, 10,000 miles per year. For well-qualified GM employees, retirees, and eligible family members with a current lease of a 2017 model year or newer Chevrolet. 1019 due at lease signing after all offers, plus title tax and dock fees. No security deposit. Program subject to change without notice, and certain restrictions may apply. See participating dealer for details. Offer ends November 30th, 2022.
Save time and money on your next vacation when you fly from Flint Bishop. It's a lot closer than you think, and parking is just steps away from the terminal. Daily nonstop flights with American and United, plus nonstop flights to 11 different destinations with Allegiant. Learn more at bishopairport.org.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows.
And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts that you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
At Target, Black Friday deals are happening right now. Save on the hottest gifts to get ahead this holiday, like must-have toys, the latest tech, and incredible offers to get your home holiday ready. You'll discover new Black Friday deals each week in stores and at Target.com. And make holiday shopping easier than ever using free drive-up, free order pickup, and same-day delivery. Get low prices and great deals so you can holiday your way. Only at Target. Exclusions apply.
This hour of Instant Feedback brought to you by Mike Papura of National Benefit Plans. For affordable health insurance, log on to nbphealth.com.
Unparalleled insight and opinions for all of the weekend NFL action. Kick off with Boomer and Valenti, Sunday mornings at 9 on 97.1 The Ticket.
As Stoney would say, the music. It's a Wednesday. It's time for the Wide Nine. Jim Costa in for Stoney. Gov, take it away.
All right, Michigan trailed Rutgers at the half, 17-14 on Saturday night. Why do you think the Wolverines continue to get off to slow starts? And are their slow starts their biggest weakness?
So a theory, why the slow starts? 2 OCs, that's typically your scripted plays. Do they need to figure out exactly who should be scripting those plays? I don't know. Is it their biggest weakness? I'd say yes, because it sets everything else up. When they're trailing, it puts extra pressure in the red zone. It puts extra pressure on the downfield passing game. When they play with a lead, they can run downhill and bury people.
Well, so when you're talking about starting slow, the scripted drive has been one thing that they have done extremely well. 7 of 9 games, I think that first opening drive has ended in a touchdown. So you're looking at that going, okay, well, that's a good way to start. It's starting fast, except the follow-up after that. And, yeah, you could say the first half has been slow, but that to me is not the narrative. The narrative is self-inflicted wounds. And you look at Iowa. They're moving the ball. They go down and score on the opening drive, but it is the fumble by J.J. McCarthy. Donovan Edwards recovers it on the 1-yard line. That stalled things in the first half. Penn State, you had the pick 6. You had the one long run by Sean Clifford. Those were what studded things in the first half. Michigan State, the fumble by Cornelius Johnson, self-inflicted wounds. And the same thing at Rutgers. It was the blocked punt for a touchdown. Again, self-inflicted wounds. So those just happened to happen in the first half. They can happen at any point in the game. That, to me, is the biggest concern for Michigan, is the self-inflicted wounds.
I mean, I think semantically you can pick it apart and call it whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is they're +3 at the half against Rutgers, Indiana, and Michigan State, and that's troubling. They need to correct it, because they do that against Ohio State, and you'll get into a hole, and then you can't do what you want to do. All right, Michigan State got a big win on Saturday in terms of becoming potentially bowl eligible. CBS Sports is projecting that the Spartans will play Miami of Ohio in the Quick Lane Bowl. Would you deem Michigan State's season as a recalculated success if they won the Quick Lane Bowl and finished 7-6?
No. And, I mean, if your standard is just getting to a bowl game and winning a bowl game, then sure. But I would assume that Michigan State, all of the alumni, all of the fans would expect more, especially after last season. And so I think if you just simply get to a bowl game, Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit, 50 minutes from East Lansing to play against a MAC team? No, I would not say that is a success. I think that their fan base expects more, should expect more.
Not exactly a tropical reward for your season. I wouldn't call it a success. I'd use a different S word. Salvaged.
Nice.
They would get the bowl practices, but it is not a success.
Wordsmith.
Yeah, of course.
That was very well done, Jim. Wow. The intelligence. All right, Clemson,
Go Chips.
Clemson got smoked in South Bend by Notre Dame, and LSU upset Alabama by going for 2 in overtime to beat the Crimson Tide. Is Clemson out of the playoff chase no matter what? And will LSU make the playoff if they run the table and win the SEC championship?
All right, so 2 parts. If LSU wins out, I think, unfortunately, they would be in the playoff as a 2-loss team.
Yep.
Clemson sure feels like they're out. They're going to get leapfrogged by Pac-12 teams, potentially a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State team. Yeah, it feels like the committee sent a message. Bye-bye.
I agree. I don't like the thought of a 2-loss team being in the college football playoffs, but if you win the SEC, then all of a sudden you look and say, okay, well, what were the losses? And when did those losses happen? And you can start to make a case for the teams that they did beat.
Yeah, they beat Georgia to do it, right?
Yeah.
They would beat Alabama to do it. They have a resume.
Right, and at that time, you could make the argument that they're the best team in college football. Go prove it in the college football playoffs. In terms of Clemson, no, because they have struggled all year long. They're not sure who their quarterback is. They've got nobody to trust on offense. They turned the ball over, should have lost to Syracuse, and all of these different factors. Plus, when you look at it from here on out, there's no ranked teams. And I think the playoff committee recognized that, and they were simply just waiting for them to lose. They go from, what were they at, number 4, all the way down to 10?
I will say this, that right now it looks like they could face potentially a top 10 North Carolina team in the ACC championship game. So
I think it's the strength of conference, or at least the perceived strength of conference. SEC strong, ACC not so strong.
All right, TCU last night, number 4 now in the CFP rankings. They're certainly the wild card in the playoff chase. If they run the table, will they make the CFP? I think the answer to that's yes. Or do you really believe that the Horned Frogs are playoff worthy, even if they go undefeated?
I do. And when you look at the gauntlet that they ran, and I know Oklahoma, it has not aged well, but they were ranked 18. Kansas at the time, 19. Again, it hasn't aged well, but at the time, they were on the road, and it was all talked about. Is that the one that Game Day showed up to?
Yeah.
And so then you've got Oklahoma State.
They had to come back down 2 scores to win that game.
Kansas State, 17. They had a gauntlet of 4 games playing against ranked opponents, and if they're able to go to Austin and beat Texas this week, I think they certainly belong in the college football playoffs if they continue to win out.
Yeah, my thought is the Big 12 is mostly mediocre. I don't know that they have a truly great team, with the exception of maybe TCU. If you don't lose, you keep playing until you lose. You are the champion until someone knocks you off. That's the point of a playoff they should be in.
Aren't they like Cincinnati on steroids, though, from last year?
No, I'm not. No, you know.
I know you're disrespecting that.
Yeah.
All right, so C.J. Stroud was 10 of 26 for 76 yards against Northwestern. Now, some of his performance can be blamed on the win, but Stroud was still awful. Poor play aside, Stroud is still listed as the Heisman favorite at plus 175. The Heisman race this year has been a war of attrition. Who will end up winning the prestigious award next month?
So it sure feels like it's going to come down to November 26th in Columbus. And, you can't really blame C.J. Stroud. I mean, it was only windy for one team on say. Oh, no, it was windy for both teams? But no, it feels like if Ohio State wins that game, he'll win the Heisman. If they lose, Corum is putting up numbers reminiscent of previous Heisman Trophy winning running backs. The only dark horse I would throw in that could upset the apple cart, how about Caleb Williams, number 8 SC. He's thrown 28 touchdowns to 1 pick. If they run the table and beat UCLA and Oregon, and he puts up a stupid stellar stat line, I think he's in New York and might win it.
I think he's in New York. The problem is he plays in the Pac-12, and who's watching him play? Not a lot of voters.
Apparently just me.
Well, no, I have watched him play as well. I think he's a good player, good college player, but that's the whole, the Pac-12 at night. Who's watching these teams play out there? And I think it's really going to come down to, like you said, November 26th, C.J. Stroud, Blake Corum, who has the bigger game. It's not C.J. Stroud's fault that they called 26 passes in a, tsunami, all right? And it's not his fault. He has to run the plays that are called. He eventually made the adjustment where, hey, nothing's there, and there's nothing there that I think I can make a throw to. I'm going to take off and run. Why did they end up winning that game? Because C.J. Stroud made a few first downs, a big couple of plays with his feet. That's not his strength, but he was able to do it. I think it comes down to who goes off in the game between Ohio State and Michigan. Is it Blake Corum? Is it C.J. Stroud? And if Blake Corum can do it in Columbus, you might be looking at a first running back in a while to win the Heisman.
Well, super quick, one thing on Caleb Williams, people are familiar with him from Oklahoma. For those that don't watch Pac-12 as much. And I think Jim nailed it in terms of, okay, let's say Corum and Stroud don't shine in that game. I think almost like Caleb Williams, when I said the war of attrition, he might be the last guy standing just from a statistical point of view.
By default.
All right, Jared Goff certainly hasn't played well the last month. He threw another interception to begin the second half against the Packers. Got away with it, though, thanks to another Aaron Rodgers interception. Have you drawn the line in the sand in terms of Goff being the long-term answer at QB?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear he's not the long-term answer. However, it doesn't mean he can't still be here. If the Lions go out and draft whoever they think is their franchise quarterback in this upcoming draft, I'm fine with that. I just don't want him to be the starter next year, maybe even for 2 years. Because if you start a rookie quarterback, you're not even going. You think 2 losses or 2 wins at this point of the year is bad? Wait till you start a rookie quarterback. Give him some time this season. Jared Goff, if all things are put around him offensively, like we saw at the start of the year, he can be a quarterback that can at least get you to the playoffs, but everything has to be right. He's here for a brief little bit. Still the bridge. We've got to find out who that next guy is and then train that quarterback to be what we need him to be before we throw him out there.
Would you say Jared Goff is a game manager?
Yeah.
I think it's fair to call him a game manager. Unfortunately, he manages the game poorly. He's had the most turnovers in the sport since 2019. So I have a game manager who doesn't manage the game well. I can save $20 million if I cut him this offseason. Bye-bye! Bye! Goodbye! Farewell!
You're such a Goff hater.
Obnoxious.
All right, there's no doubt the Lions are a different team with DeAndre Swift on the field, but the problem is he can't stay on the field. If the Lions were to select a running back with their first second-round pick, would you rather have Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs?
I hate that this is where we're at, but Swift can't stay healthy. I go Bijan Robinson. I feel like he's better between the tackles. I may need an every down back.
I would say the same thing. I like the fact that he's 6 foot, 220 pounds. He's probably going to play the most of his career right around 220, 230. I think he's more durable. He's got more experience playing at Texas. And you put him, he seems to fit this offensive line a heck of a lot better.
All right, let's roll through these last two. The Bills were the most popular Super Bowl pick before the season, but they may not even win the AFC East if the Dolphins and Jets are just a half game back. Do you consider the Bills a Super Bowl favorite, and do they need home field advantage to get to the Super Bowl?
They don't need home field advantage. They just have to follow through on what they did during the regular season. They've already gone to Arrowhead and gotten a win. As long as this elbow issue, the UCL for Josh Allen, isn't too significant, I still think the Bills are my Super Bowl favorite.
You nailed it. It comes down to how healthy Josh Allen is, because you want him to be able to play with a little bit of reckless abandon and run the ball too. You don't want him to be clutching his elbow.
All right, finally, we've got Jim's Rams. They're 3-5 and struggling mightily on offense. Are you ready to bury LA's playoff chances?
Yeah, I don't think they're a playoff team.
I don't think they're a playoff team, but in this year's NFC, they might eke in. And it all comes down to, can Matthew Stafford stay healthy? I'm surprised that he's still up right now, but hey, at number 7 seed, 4-4 San Francisco, Atlanta 4-5, Washington 4-5, and then there's LA at 3-5. They're simply one game out.
The Lions are 2 out.
I'm glad somebody else went there. I was going to say that next, but yes, it's unbelievable.
There's your wide 9. Come on.
Football season is well underway. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So all you got to do, sign up with promo code Jansen. And if you're new to sports betting, check out the Moneyline, point spreads, player props. Those are easy ones. They'll get you comfortable. And then if you want to try something a little bit more fun, maybe dig it a little bit deeper, build yourself a same-game parlay. Put down a little, chance to win a lot, all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code Jansen for your no-sweat first bet and make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or over and present. Michigan first online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. You have any problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
This report brought to you by NECA IBEW Local 58. Near the Clarkston area, there's a minor crash on the left shoulder, 75 northbound after Dixie Highway. Traffic is starting to build on 96 eastbound connecting to eastbound 696 as drivers are heading into the work zone. Good news, though, on 96, construction has been cleared between Kensington and Beck Roads. Put the expertise and skill of NECA signatory contractors and IBEW electricians to work on your commercial, public, industrial, or residential construction project. Productivity and innovation matter. Learn more at poweringmichigansfuture.com. SportsBet.com. I'm Michelle Pena with traffic.
The latest news and information on the Big Ten on the 5 Star Zone podcast with Rico Baird. Get it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Boomer Science with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Much has been said about Dusty Baker, the oldest manager to win a World Series, but perhaps you didn't hear this story. Last month, when third baseman Alex Bregman was fasting on Yom Kippur, Baker visited a local deli and loaded up on corned beef, pastrami, smoked fish, bagels, and matzo ball soup for Bregman to break his fast. Well, that's what I call somebody that's in touch with reality. I'm Boomer Science.
Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after mailing rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, get double O Rewards points with your purchase. Prepare for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Klipsch Premium Audio combines thoughtful design, visionary innovation, and premium materials to create the ultimate listening experience. For more than 75 years, these iconic designs have produced the power, performance, and passion synonymous with the Klipsch name. Discerning audiophiles entrust their music to Klipsch for extraordinary clarity and vivid sound. Superior audio comes from Klipsch, keepers of the sound.
And now, another stroke of genius from Genesis Credit Union. Today, Genius Checking.
I'm no math whiz, but even I can calculate the benefits of a Genius high-yield checking account from Genesis Credit Union. With just 10 debit transactions a month and e-statements, I'll earn 4.07% APY.
With 28 locations and 30,000 ATMs. Stop by or check us out at genesiscu.org.
That's genius.
That's Genesis. Federally insured by the NCUA. Annual percentage yield paid on average daily balance up to $7,500.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now because game day is so close you can almost taste it. Football watching. Better with Pepsi.
Parents, do you want to save your child's life? 97.1 The Ticket Student Heart Check can help. Make the time to have your child checked. Contact the Max and Deborah Ernst Heart Center at Beaumont Hospital in Royal Oak. Learn more at 971theticket.com. Sponsored by Priority Health and Total Healthcare Foundation. Text the ticket now. Ticket text 248-539-9797. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
I'm still stunned that you didn't realize Bob Ross had died like 27 years ago.
Well, the dude, okay, so we looked into a little bit more. Like, he died in 95. The dude was 52. Like, so it wasn't like he was old at that time. Bob Ross still alive?
I love it. Oh, what a great drop.
I don't understand why, like, why is that so surprising? Like, I didn't realize somebody was dead.
Well, I love your defense. He should be alive. I mean,
Yeah.
he'd be 70-something right
Yeah,
now.
he'd be like 78, 79.
John, like, there's a reason we haven't seen any new work or heard from him. He's been dead for nearly 30
I haven't
years.
seen any work from the dude.
Stoney did not know who Bob Ross was until he worked here with me.
Who, Bob Ross?
Yeah, the painter, yes.
Yeah, I know. Oh, you're talking about Stoney
Stoney.
was here with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so wow. I just grouped myself in with Stoney.
Yeah, you're in the Stoney camp.
And you got a drop that sounds awfully a lot like some of his.
And I started pulling up people who've been dead for nearly 30 years. I'm like, would you be surprised if like, Tina Turner's been dead for almost 30 years? It would not be a surprise.
Well, yeah, so we started looking at those that had passed that year. And who were some of them? I think it was Ava Gabor, Jaja's sister. Nothing. Okay.
No.
I'll keep going. Let's see. Who else was there? Was a couple notables. Ginger Rogers.
Mm-hmm. Dean Martin.
Yeah, Dean Martin. There you go.
Could you imagine if I asked the question, is Dean Martin still alive?
Yeah, that's all I just did.
Is Dean Martin still alive?
I still watch movies with Dean Martin in them, right? So I know that he's dead. I've never seen anything from Bob Ross. I know he's the painter dude.
I'm looking forward to Dean Martin's latest this Christmas season. What's he going to be in? Oh, wait, he's been dead for almost 30 years.
He's singing some Christmas carols. You can hear that on one of the other channels.
Should we do a Dead or Alive segment?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Clark Gable.
Dead. Thoughts and prayers. We'll answer it with thoughts and prayers. Okay. For those that have passed, thoughts and prayers. And then everybody else just alive. Thought he was alive.
I thought he was alive. You channeling your inner Biden today?
My inner Biden. Why you gotta be such a... All right, I won't go there.
Okay. Well, when we did a Catch Ticket episode like a week ago, and Mike killed Vern Lundquist, who is very much still alive.
I know where the exit is. I know. Okay, so I'm not channeling my inner Biden.
Okay, perfect. We did want to mention the college football playoff rankings. We'll get to the MSU lawyer comments at 7:02. John, I would normally find some things to be upset about when these rankings come out. I feel like it's an annual occurrence. They drop on a Tuesday, Wednesday. We're nitpicking, and I think there's only one team that has even a little bit of a gripe.
Who's that?
UCLA.
What?
They're number 12. They've got a pair of top 25 wins. Meanwhile, USC is 8 and has beaten nor played, or hasn't beaten anybody in the top 25.
Well, they actually have 3 top 25 wins.
Who's the third?
Washington, Utah, and Oregon.
They lost to Oregon.
Oh, so it's not a win.
Yeah. So they have 2. They were 2-1. They have 2 wins against top 25 teams. Where I can't say the same for Bama or Ole Miss or USC, who are all ranked ahead of them. I would bump up the Bruins with 1 loss, a top 6 loss on the road, and a pair of quality wins.
Yeah.
I know. Listen, we're not doing Los Angeles radio. No one's shedding a tear for UCLA. I thought other than that,
they're in the Big Ten.
There we go. I thought other than that, they did a nice job. If you're gonna put Notre Dame in the top 25, I get putting Ohio State ahead of Michigan because that gives them one more notable win. Michigan's non-conference is indefensible.
So I always go with, if you put these 2 teams on the field, who would win? All right, and so let me give you this. You put the UCLA on the field with Alabama, who wins?
Alabama probably wins, but I push back because
I understand
we shouldn't be doing this by who we think would win. We should base it on who has been winning.
Okay, you have your standard, I have mine. So, if you want to be upset about UCLA, fine, and kind of splitting hairs, and I know you're not, it's not a cross that you want to die on, so... But I look at it, and I also think, okay, Alabama at 9, Clemson at 10. If you put those 2 teams on the field right now, because we've seen that a bunch in the playoffs, who wins right now? Are they really only 1 apart? So I'm thinking Clemson, to me, is still too high. If I'm going to take Ole Miss, I'm going to take UCLA. Heck, I'm going to take a 2-loss Utah or Penn State. I'd probably put them above Clemson. I don't think Clemson beats any of those teams.
We are very different because I don't want to play what I think would happen. I want the games to decide what happens. I want them to decide it on the field.
Yeah, but in the end, that's really how it's decided in regards to, okay, we're going to take all these 1-loss teams and we're going to look at their resumes and we're going to say, okay, we're going to project who, when we're splitting hairs for that number 4 spot. And you're looking at, okay, is it Michigan? Is it TCU? Is it TCU or Tennessee? Is it Oregon? How do they get a way back in? When it comes down to it is, who do we think has the best chance to win in the college football playoffs?
I base it off their resume. And that's why I think they did a good job. The 4 teams that are undefeated, that have yet to lose, winning and losing is supposed to matter. I think they did a nice job.
And in regards to, if, obviously there's probably some Michigan fans out there going, I can't believe we're still behind Ohio State. First of all, strength of schedule and wins right now is what they're looking at. And if the college football playoffs were going to be this coming weekend, Ohio State and Michigan, yes, they would play. And there is no advantage to being either 2 or 3. Number 1 gets to pick, other than, okay, the uniform.
The only question I think we have with the playoffs.
I can't stand that conversation.
The only question I think we have with those 2 in the playoff is, would the loser still get in? How far would the loser of that game fall? Could they still be in the top 4? I think Tennessee will be ahead of the loser of that game. I don't know about Oregon. I don't know if a Pac-12 team will make a case.
It'll be interesting if TCU. I mean, this weekend is going to be big, just like last weekend. If TCU goes to Austin and they lose, right now you've got all these one-loss teams, and you've got Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. Clearly 1, 2, 3. However you want to sort them out, I don't care. And then you've got Georgia 1, Ohio State, Michigan 2, 3, whatever. But then that's where it becomes interesting. Because if you get to the end of the year, Michigan, Ohio State, and let's just say it's a great game, whichever side wins, I think there's a pathway, even if you're not playing in a championship game, for the loser of that game to be in the college football playoffs.
One correction on the ticket text. Tina Turner's alive. I killed her. I'm so sorry. Tina's very much still with us.
I thought
I made the mistake.
When you said that, I thought you were being
making fun of me.
Yeah,
sure, that's what I was doing.
Because I looked it up and I was like, man, I don't want to correct him on the air because maybe he was.
No, yeah, it was a joke. It was totally a joke. I definitely didn't screw that up.
So now we need to pull you saying that.
It's all good.
Or should we have Heather say
unaliving people all morning long?
No, alive or dead.
You probably should.
Really quick, since we're back on this, there's a ticket text. We did talk about the T-Rex capital earlier. Someone at the ticket text is saying, hey, our T-Rex is still alive.
It's been a fun hour. Can't wait for the next one. Michigan State player with a lawyer. We'll get to it. 97.1.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Sports headlines. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio. This is 97.1. The Ticket.
Brought to you by Mother Waddles. A game-tying third-period goal by Lucas Raymond got the Wings to overtime, but missed opportunities throughout the game, preventing them from earning that extra goal as Detroit fell to Montreal 3-2 after a shootout in LCA, 0-7 on power plays, a missed penalty shot, and falling in the shootout 2-1. Recently called up forward Matt Love, also sustaining a major injury after being put into the boards late. Michigan football now top 3 in the college playoff rankings. They move up 2 spots from number 5, now only behind Georgia and Ohio State. TCU rounds out the top 4 with Tennessee and Oregon just on the outside looking in. Bama and Clemson drop to 9 and 10 after losses. The Big Ten also has Penn State at 14 and Illinois dropping to 21. Elsewhere, an attorney for one of the Michigan State football players is suspended during the tunnel incident. Points fingers back at Michigan players for instigating the incident. They've been only one side of the story is being told, and then the media took the bait from Coach Harbaugh's, quote, howls at the moon. And on the football field, Eastern Michigan bowl eligible for a program record 4th consecutive year, beating Akron 34-28. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Chris Lamar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, Stoney and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
We may have to play Dead or Alive later today. What a start to the show. Jim Costa in for Stoney. Stoney is very much alive. He was sick yesterday, still sick today. Just not present. You tried to kill him yesterday. He's not with us in the studio. Still with us on this planet. You heard Falar reference this lawyer, David Diamond. He's a Los Angeles attorney, and Free Press ran with this story. I would have just kind of laughed at it, but they published this story. There was a release sent out. Newly retained counsel for Michigan State football player determines that a Michigan player started the altercation. He just determined it. I have yet to see any video to support that, but John, it's more than that. When you read his release, it reads like a Twitter Mad Libs from people who are still upset from the tunnel incident. He refers to Harbaugh, I'm assuming, as the master victim and his howls at the moon. He references Michigan as hail to the victims, and then also references an unrelated incident from 1995 where his girlfriend was had a cup of something tossed at her.
Cup of phlegm.
Yes. What does that have to do with anything? This is also riddled with grammatical errors. Devin Bush's name is referenced and incorrectly spelled. I would have just not published this because there's nothing credible to it.
Well, there's not much credible to it. And first of all, I mean, I'm assuming they did. I know I had to go back because you read it first and you're like, oh, this must be a parody.
Right.
It can't be real. It can't actually come from a real attorney with all of the errors in it. I mean, it's laughable. And here's the other thing that, as a former player, I think is laughable. We have seen similar behavior, even worse on the gridiron, and suddenly because it happens in the tunnel, it's criminal charges. Okay, well, there's one thing to happen on the field. There's for 3.5 hours, and I've said this before. One of the beautiful things about football is I get to do things on the field for 3.5 hours that I would be put in jail for in any other environment. But that's where, I mean, you got to understand your environment, the rules. That's the environment that it's okay to do. Now all of a sudden you go up the tunnel. It's not okay to do that anymore. So it's funny to me.
And here's the deal. I actually do want to give MSU and Mel Tucker credit for suspending the players, generally handling this as well. I know.
To do with Mel Tucker.
Not at all, which is the damn shame that, like, you have someone, this is a player on his team that has retained this lawyer putting out this statement, like, hey, guys, they're only the victims because you assaulted them, not because of the media. I don't know how this needs to be, like, adjudicated a week and a half later, but if you don't gang up 8-on-1 and use your helmet as a weapon, nobody is making Michigan out to be victims. And Mel Tucker, to his credit, hasn't done that.
And I've given Mel Tucker a lot of credit since this happened in regards to he's never pointed and said anything about Jim Harbaugh. He's never said anything about the tunnel. He's never said anything about Michigan's players. It has always been directed towards, this is what we need to do to handle our guys. This is in-house for us. So I give a lot of credit to Mel Tucker for doing that. The individual that calls himself an attorney has nothing to do with Michigan State athletics.
Yeah, now he does say in here, an eyewitness described it as a Michigan player charging with his helmet and throwing a punch. If that was true, and again, this lawyer doesn't appear to be the most credible person, if that was true, and I would welcome the video to see it, I would condemn Michigan as much as I did MSU. But we don't have anything credible that suggests that Michigan started the physical portion of the altercation in the tunnel. Someone may have been, and probably was, yapping. But that's what the rivalry has always been about. You win, you get 365 to brag. For years, Michigan didn't prioritize the rivalry enough. That was the narrative. Now they prioritize it a whole hell of a lot more, and Michigan State players, not all of them, but some players, it hurt their feelings, and they acted out violently. That makes you the problem, not the other side.
Yeah, well, and the fact that for, 6-7 years, Jim Harbaugh didn't prioritize it, yet now he's the one that's escalated it. That to me is laughable.
I read through this, and like you said, it almost reads like parody. Free Press published it, and apparently they believe it's credible enough. Like, an investigation yields that a player... What investigation? Your own investigation? You, the person representing a Michigan State player? That's not an investigation. That's a claim.
No.
Which, that's why you said, like, the guy who calls himself an attorney. This doesn't read like someone who has a law degree. Right.
Went to school for this.
The whole thing is laughable, but I guess the one thing that potentially could be substance in it is if a Michigan player actually, used their helmet, charged with a helmet, and threw a punch. Now, there's no other reports that this has happened.
Yeah, there's no actual witness. There's nobody that's actually said there's a witness other than this so-called attorney that has said we've got a witness.
Right, and to me, the only defense ever from Michigan State for this was to say that Michigan started it.
Physically started it.
Yeah.
Not just talking, but physically.
They physically instigated, therefore the others felt like they needed to have a response, but then the one went too far using a weapon. Right?
Sure.
I mean, I would love, before you give this any credibility, to hear somebody else back this up at least. If it were true, guys, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but you try to be fair. We've all said let the investigation be completed. If this was physically instigated by Michigan, I think for me personally, at least it changes the criminal charges.
Sure,
which I'm a lukewarm on to begin with.
I don't need to see that. I don't need to see guys go to jail.
Okay, well, just because you're criminally charged doesn't mean you're going to end up going to jail.
Fair. To me, nobody would serve. They would give probation.
Right. I had an issue when we saw it happen in the NFL. And issuing a helmet, you're trying to inflict great bodily harm with a weapon, right? And if you're Myles Garrett and you do it on the field, I have a major issue with that. And I think that the NFL should have taken greater steps at that time to pursue either legal charges or to rectify that situation. Same thing with Aaron Donald. And it happened in practice. He used 2 helmets. So now we take it a step further. Now it's happening in college. Like at some point, you've got to take a stand against using a helmet as a weapon.
Well, and if Michigan used violence, I mean, there's really no hypocrisy. When Juwan Howard used violence, I was on with you that next day, John, and we both condemned it. And I feel like Michigan and Michigan State fans said, yeah, this guy's got to be suspended. And he was. And if Michigan players use violence, you know what we'd say? They should be suspended.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, this doesn't feel credible.
Was it Musa at the time? Diabate?
Yeah, he also got suspended. Yes. I this idea that like it's good for a laugh. I know it's
good for a laugh. Got us through election day.
Sure. 248-539-9797. I don't know if there is even a response to it, but we were sending it back and forth yesterday. I wanted to bring it up at least. Coming up next, Ndamukong Suh has a message for the current Detroit Lions. We'll get to that. It's 97.1.
Hey, I want to tell you about my personal experiences, the fact that I'm excited to be a customer over at First Merchants Bank. Here's why. You probably know that Level 1 Bank became First Merchants Bank back in August, but did you know that just like Level 1, First Merchants Bank is rooted firmly in the Midwest? As a customer experience award-winning community bank, First Merchants Bank provides impressively attentive service that you simply can't find at other banks. Since I became a customer, they've treated me as an individual, giving me their undivided attention while helping me get things done. And I've enjoyed working with them and simply couldn't be happier. Based on how they've treated me, I'm confident the First Merchants Bank genuinely cares for other customers and that they're going to continue to go above and beyond to help their customers and communities prosper. Visit your local First Merchants Banking Center for your next financial need and see for yourself. I'm sure you're going to be happy that you did. First Merchants Bank is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. 94 westbound at the Lodge Freeway, a crash leaves only the right lane open. Traffic starting to slow down right around Gratiot Avenue, so well before I-75. You can also try Warren Avenue as a possible alternate. 94 eastbound after Mount Elliott, a crash is blocking the left lane in both shoulders. 96 eastbound traffic connecting to eastbound 696. Starting to slow down there as drivers are heading into the work zone. That's where there's a left lane closure between 275 and Lasser. I'm Michelle Penny, Opens Traffic.
The latest on your Detroit Lions. Download Necessary Roughness with TJ Lang and John Jensen today. Get it on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
A new Dick's Sporting Goods warehouse sale store is now open in Canton on Ford Road. Check out can't-miss deals for the entire family, including hoodies and sweatshirts, leggings and joggers, coats and jackets, footwear, more. Get ready to save up to 70% off on thousands of items. Grand opening celebration this weekend.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using the code STONY and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Sign up today and find out why nothing beats a win at the King of Sportsbooks. Download the BetMGM app or go to BetMGM.com and enter the code STONY and place your first wager risk-free. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons.
Brian Vella, president of United Image Group, produces everything from promotional merchandise to vehicle wraps to exterior signage and depends heavily on applied innovation.
We utilize Applied Innovation as an arm of our company, and they're part of our team.
How has Applied Innovation responded?
Applied gave us the opportunity, the equipment, the technology to have a better way to where our team now comes in and it's easier to operate, easier for them to do their job.
What's the ultimate benefit of your Applied Innovation relationship?
So over 4.5 years that we've been doing it, we have seen our sales more than triple, and the equipment that we put in place has allowed us to take the additional sales and still have our customers experience the same type of customer service that they knew when we were at the start.
Put Applied Innovation to work for your team. Applied Innovation, your single source for all your business technology needs. Call Applied Innovation today, 800-521-0983, or visit appliedinnovation.com.
Sign up for the 40th Annual Strategic Staffing Solutions Turkey Trot on Woodward Avenue Thanksgiving morning with a 10K, 5K, and 1 mile run. It's the nation's largest Thanksgiving race. Proceeds benefit the Parade Company Foundation. Register at parade.org/Turkey Trot.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Where can you find gifts for anyone and holiday inflatables for any home? Lowe's, actually. Save big on top tool brands like your choice of the DeWalt 20-volt Max Drill Kit or Impact Driver Kit. Was $159, now $99. All backed by the Lowe's Price Promise. Plus, outdoor inflatables starting at $22.98. Check back daily for deals during Black Friday month and start saving now at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offer valid through 11/9. While supplies last. Terms apply. Learn more at Lowes.com/price promise.
Why wait to save? Dell Technologies Black Friday event arrives early with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 48% off performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
What's worse than calling your groin your junk? Treating it like junk. Respect your pubic region with Gillette Intimate. Gentle and easy pubic hair care from America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. Gillette, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
The Michigan Wolverines host the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Pre-game Saturday at 2:30 on 104.3 WOMC. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
John, can I read a couple ticket texts before we get into Ndamukong Suh's comments about the Lions?
Please do.
Okay. Apparently we're one-sided.
Shocker.
We read the MSU snippets of the MSU lawyer. People going, oh, come on, no fairness from this show. Michigan radio until 2 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, tell me where we went wrong.
Right, another one says, is this the lawyer for the parent who hit Jermaine Green when he was going to meet his parents in the locker room? See, this whole thing has turned into such a mess.
Yeah, and the issue with the whole witness thing, like I've talked to people that were in the tunnel that were there as well, and they said that, yeah, the Michigan player was, maybe talking a little bit trash, but there was no aggression. He did not move or make a move at the Michigan State players. So when you're talking about the tunnel, you're going to have an issue with both sides. You've got Spartans and Wolverines.
Mm-hmm.
And are they going to tell you exactly what happened or what's best for their side?
Well, of course. But that's why we rely on the video that we have been able to see. And the video has shown MSU players kicking Michigan players while they're down and using a helmet. And I would welcome footage if it shows Michigan being violent too. But all I've seen is MSU be violent. The only people who have been suspended are MSU players. And then 10 days later, you think we've moved on, and one of their players lawyered up, this David Diamond from California, who says Michigan is hail to the victims, and they're the master manipulators, and it feels like Michigan State Twitter got a law degree or something. Like and honestly, I question how credible this guy is. He's misspelling things. There's grammatical errors. It feels like it's antagonistic. He references an incident that is personal to him from 1995. It feels like an axe to grind that he's not even hiding. Again, if we had seen any video to the contrary, I'd be more than willing to say, like Juwan Howard, like Moussa Diabate, physical violence leads to suspensions.
95 was a tough year. I mean, a cup of phlegm, and we lost Bob Ross.
It's a good reset for people who've been up with us early today.
Phlegm.
Anyway, Ndamukong Suh. He has a message for Lions management about Aiden Hutchinson. Former number 2 picks, right?
Yes.
Kinship and all that. He was asked by someone on Twitter, hey, what do you think of Aiden Hutchinson? And he said, hopefully the GM and ownership are smart enough to build around him.
Right. And so Detroit Lions PR put out a Twitter that was, or a tweet. Thank you. The 4th rookie D lineman in team history to record an interception. That was Aiden Hutchinson. So he joins Ndamukong Suh, 2010, Jim Doran from 1951, and Thurman McGraw from 1950. I mean, I wish this is when you need Stoney to talk about what he saw
Thurman
at
McGraw?
that time. Yeah. And then it also says he joined Suh as the only rookie in team history to log at least 4.5 sacks and 1 interception in a debut season. So that was retweeted to Ndamukong Suh. And the tweeter said, hey, Ndamukong Suh, what you think of the kid? His response to your, like you had just read, hopefully the GM and ownership are smart enough to build around him. I mean, how would things be different now if they built around Ndamukong Suh?
But didn't they?
But they did.
I mean, he chose to leave. I mean, that's kind of where this feels weird. Like, is he implying the Lions didn't try to build around him? I think we all know Aiden's a building block. You draft the guy number 2 overall. He's had some big plays.
Yeah.
The Suh point, though, it's like, yeah, dude, like, you didn't want to be here. And, like, that's your call.
Yeah.
But don't reflect if they should build around this guy. You would have been the centerpiece of the defense for the entire decade.
Yeah.
If you didn't leave.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, is I think building around a rush end and building around a defensive tackle is a little bit different as well.
Yep.
I think Suh always kind of felt like he was never given enough credit for what he was doing. And it not just here, but throughout the course of his career, you've seen him bounce around now, and right now he's just kind of waiting for that last call to see if anybody, is making a Super Bowl run. Yeah, I'll jump on the bandwagon. But he was a guy that just wanted what was best for Ndamukong Suh.
248-539-9797 if you have a reaction to what Suh had to say or any MSU lawyer stuff. We are going to get into some lingering thoughts from this past weekend. Dan Campbell midway through year number 2 and what people ultimately want to see the rest of the way. We'll do that at 7:35.
I got 3 names to defend Suh to a degree, although I think the attempt was made to build around him. Titus Young, Nick Fairley, and Mikel LaShore. I mean, they all bombed, right?
Yes.
Now you put somebody next to Suh with Fairley, the thought was, wow, dominant interior line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Bush, you got a 1-2 punch there with LaShore. And we certainly saw the talent opposite Calvin with Titus Young, and then he lost his mind.
Yeah.
So was it just bad draft picks? The attempt was made.
Right.
I don't think they ever did anything to harm him directly.
Am I missing something? Revisionist history here? Did they wrong Suh in some way that I'm not?
No.
Okay.
That's why I said it's always been about Ndamukong Suh. Like, he's looking at this as, well, GM and ownership didn't build around me, and therefore I left. No, you didn't want to be here. It was clear, not just your contract year, it was clear for a couple of years that you didn't want to be here, and so when you had the opportunity to leave, you left.
I believe it was 2012 his sister made the comment. Might have been earlier than that. It just kind of indicated he's not going to be here.
Well, didn't he walk after a playoff appearance? I mean, you can't exactly say, like, oh, we were a 3-win team and I had to leave.
Right.
Let's go to
And it
Ron.
was a top 5 defense, by the way.
Yeah, I think it was number 2 in the league. Let's go to Ron in Downriver. Ron, you're on 97.1.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I would say absolutely not. The Lions did not try to build around the Dolphins. As a matter of fact, we could have had Aaron Donald, and we picked a tight end for Stafford. We did it over and over again. We got to get alignment for him. But every year, that was the focus point of what we're going to do. What else can we get Stafford the weapons we need to win? And as you can see, when Stafford went to the Rams, even though he led the league in pick sixes, they still won a Super Bowl, but that defense was tight. That defense bailed them out. We don't think like that. Defense can bail out an average quarterback or a little bit above average quarterback. You build around a defense. You build around Hunt, you're going to have a Super Bowl. You build around Dominican Sue, which Dominican Sue has proven he's been to 2 Super Bowls since he's been with us.
All right, so let me ask you this question. Do you think this is Brad Holmes is building around the defense? Aiden Hutchinson wasn't added till this year, and last year they went heavy defense as well. Are they building around the defense?
I love what they're doing right now. I love what they're doing. Even though the coach is wacky sometimes, hey, it's okay with me. I understand people calling in on it, but I love the way they're building around the defense. They're mostly defense. All of it's mostly defense and a couple of offensive players. And you give them time doing this, and it's going to show. We're going to be in the promised land. You'll see it.
All right.
Appreciate it, Ron.
Yeah, Ron calling for the Super Bowl.
We had a guy text right after the game, because I was in on Sunday for the Lions game. Hey, you can't go 11-6 if you don't win today.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's winning will do that
so
to you.
Cool.
Let's go to Heather with the news.
Well, thousands of Michiganders registered to vote on Tuesday. Statewide, the number of same-day voter registrations had reached 12,537. That was just as of 6:30 p.m. Plus, yesterday afternoon, Michigan was on track to have one of the highest turnouts for a midterm election in the state's history. There was state officials that said precinct workers were just really surprised by the turnout, a higher turnout than expected. And there was some pictures that are circulating that I just thought were so cool. The campuses on Michigan and Michigan State, the number of students who turned out to vote, the lines after polls had technically closed. As long as you're in line, right, you can still vote. And those lines were long. They were handing out hand warmers, pizza at the Michigan campus, just to encourage those students to remain in line so that they could still vote. It was just really cool to see that young adults were taking the time to get out there and vote. Those pictures were really, really neat. Quick election results. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has won a second term, defeating Tudor Dixon. Props 1, 2, and 3 all passed. The Attorney General race between Dana Nessel and Matthew DePerno is still pretty close. Yep. Nessel is leading 52% to 45%, with about 83% of the votes counted. Obviously, there's more results. I'm not going to read them all. You can check them out online. This is pretty funny. TSA officials in Florida had some fun on social media after a traveler was busted trying to sneak a gun through airport security by stuffing the weapon inside a whole uncooked chicken. So overall, the entire situation was rather fascinating, but it's how they responded to it. So on Twitter, TSA said, quote, "There's a personal foul here," obviously. DTE. FOWL,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
Spelled that way. Our officers at Fort Lauderdale, yes, that joke. Our officers at Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, made this very raw find. We hate to break it to you, but stuffing a firearm in your holiday bird for travel is just a waste of time. They also had some more fun on Instagram saying the plot chickens as we barrel our way closer to Thanksgiving.
Trucking.
For us, it's time to be thankful that our officers are always working around the clock to keep you safe. This idea wasn't even half baked. It was raw, greasy, and obviously unsupervised. The only roast happening here is this poor packing choice. So they also included a link to how to travel safely with your